Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update for commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into individual sectors, individual companies, share my opinions. You can see my portfolio. You can see what I'm buying on the website. We still have a discount coupon code going on. LEAP is the discount coupon code if you're interested. All right, let's dive in here. Let's see what's going on today. We've got the dollar that's just basically hanging on today. It's been working its way sideways. Some sort of consolidation here. And looks like yields are also, for the most part, moving sideways. So we've broken the downtrend to the upside. Nothing's broken. And it still looks like we could head higher in dollar strength in relationship to other really weak currencies. The 2-year yield, it's still holding on. We have another consolidation here for the most part. Looked like it was trying to break out today, but got rejected. That's why we see that red candlestick there. But for the most part, we'll see if we get any more traction to the upside or if this is actually a bearish engulfing where we have some downside pressure. We won't know until basically tomorrow, and we see what kind of trading we get tomorrow. The 10-year yield still moving sideways. It's still holding on. We've got this inverted flag pattern that could still be in play, but we're right on top of it. And I think a lot deals with the direction of where oil goes. If oil goes on up, I think yields are just going to follow oil for the most part. But right now, it's in a holding pattern, just moving sideways. And then the 30-year yield also in a holding pattern, just moving sideways at this time. But we're still within a larger pattern where we could eventually work our way lower if we see weakness in the markets. Generally, people move into bonds, but I don't think that's going to be the case on the 30-year. I don't see anybody rolling into bonds in mass. TYX, TNX ratio, it is still at a very inverted state, and we are staying inverted at this time. The 20-year bond price basically just working its way lower. We were sideways today. In this box here, it's down 0.15%, but the momentum is coming back up a little bit. Again, just by looking at this, to me, it looks like we still are in a downtrend in the short term. And then the 2 and 10-year yield, again, we've just been moving sideways here for the most part. We can take this out of here. And if we back out, we've been inverted for a pretty long time. And we're staying inverted at this time. And if we see market weakness, I would expect this to drop where people rush into bonds and the 2-year goes down because the Federal Reserve is going to lower rates. We just don't see that yet. Gold getting smacked in the face, down $70 an ounce. Pretty big move. It started pre-market, very early pre-market, and just went down, 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 down. So lots of selling pressure. I don't think it was on huge volume or anything like that. And we've got this ugly looking candlestick there. Again, we'll see if tomorrow, if there's any follow through. But right now, it's looking a little bit weak, at least today. And we get these candlesticks every once in a while. We had one here, which some people say they turned that one around. But big selling pressure today. And I can't tell you exactly the necessary reason for it. It's not like yields were launching higher or anything like that. Just a selling day today. Silver down also pretty large, down almost 5.5% down, $1.57, $1.57 per ounce. But we have broken out of this trend line, and we could do a retest. Very possible. Silver's really tough to kind of nail in the short term. It does this kind of crazy movements, but right now, lots of selling pressure, and we could go lower with that candlestick. Platinum faring a lot better than the other two, down 1.3%. And this continues, in my opinion, to squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then palladium faring the best of the group, still down though, down $9 an ounce, 0.87%, still above support. XAU to gold ratio, the gold and silver mining companies did sell off a little bit more. We're right on support for that. And I do think that this is going to break out. I don't think there's any way that they can stop this, they being the Federal Reserve or anything like that. Even if they were to, if they're to lower rates, I think that's going to be good for gold and silver. I don't think it's going to be bad. So if we get market weakness, we are going to see, I think, precious metals and probably the gold and silver mining companies go up at the same time. So if that occurs, which is a big if, we would see a slowdown in the market, and gold generally goes up when they pull back rates. So the way that you'd stop gold is if they were to continue to increase rates, which is also a possibility, where oil takes off and rates follow with it. So those are the two kind of outcomes there. CRB index is holding on. It's right at resistance. It looks pretty good to continue higher. Not much selling pressure yet. CRB to S&P 500 down a little bit today because the S&P was up. And I do think that we have this momentum being generated where commodities will outperform the S&P 500 in the short term at least. And we'll see if we can break longer term resistance levels. So GDX selling off about 4.5% today. It's not like this is the reversal candlestick here right at resistance. So we're starting to sell off, and we'll see how low we go and what the momentum looks like over the next week or so. We're also getting a little bit of selling pressure in GDXJ. We gapped down. It's not a strong candlestick because we gapped down and just kind of held ourselves there. Same with SILJ. We gapped down, held ourselves there. It's not a huge selling pressure candlestick where you get this big selling, red bearish candlestick like this guy here, that reversal candlestick. We're still above the trend line, and maybe this is our time for a potential retest return move. Crude oil down a little bit, but it's still holding on. It's not a huge selling pressure day. So we're holding on. We're above support. We're right on support, basically. And we've got a bunch of support right underneath us for crude oil. Nat gas, TTF nat gas, down about 5%. Maybe we're doing a return move here. We had some pretty ugly candlesticks here, a couple of trading sessions, which look like it would head lower. And here we are heading lower right back to support. Nat gas in America up 2%. It's still basing out. Not much to really report there. We've got our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, up 0.82%, still above the neckline of the longer pattern here. Everything looks okay at this current time for a continued move to the upside. We've got OIH also down slightly. It looks like this is a reversal candlestick there. It's a bearish engulfing / bearish piercing, wherever this thing ended up. And we just have a small down day today with the momentum going up a little bit. So that looks all right. We'll see what occurs. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust up 1%. Still looks like we could head lower given the pattern. I wouldn't sell anything myself, but it does look like we could head a little bit lower. URA also not much buying or selling pressure going on, just kind of moving sideways. We do have a little bit of support underneath us from previous trading sessions, all three here. We've got URNM also down a little bit on top of support. And then we also have URNJ on top of support with a small little candlestick today. This very well could go lower if the overall markets sell off, and if people don't want uranium, yeah, it could easily head lower. And I know, there's some times in the markets, guys, where you don't have good readings on it necessarily. My opinions, like if I see this and it breaks out here and does a retest, it's a buy here. But between that, you don't really do much. You kind of just move up, yeah, and I just hold on. So my entry point's here, but I don't really do anything after that. It's moving on up. Could this pull back? Could this be, a flag pattern or something where it pulls back? It very well could. But there's no point in trying to time that short-term market movement there, my opinion. TAN up 0.96%, but again, this thing looks like crap. It looks like we could head lower there. We've got copper slightly lower today. It still looks good. Momentum's to the upside. That's still looking good. We've broken out of the larger pattern there. There's your big pattern, the breakout, and this one didn't have a big return move after the breakout. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. COPX down a little bit, but I still think this looks good. It's holding on. It looks like it's just consolidating for a potential move on upward. So the bigger picture view, this is stage one. Stage two is up here. We break out, we consolidated, and then we're breaking to the upside. I think that upside's still intact. Everything looks good. Lithium down a little bit. I don't know. This doesn't look that great to me. I wouldn't be in this. This doesn't look like something I have to be in yet. REMX also selling off a little bit. And I don't think it looks as bad as lithium, but it's still struggling at the moment. We need to get some big green candlesticks, get the green army to show up. SPX, which is the S&P 500, small little update today. Momentum still to the downside. Again, let's see what the next few trading sessions have in store for us. Momentum's lower. We also have the NASDAQ small update today. Momentum's lower. And again, we'll see what it looks like these next few trading sessions because I still think we've got lots of downside pressure still being applied. The regional banking ETF up almost 2% today. Looks pretty good to me. I mean, it's holding on. Is this a good entry point? No, that's not what I mean. But it just looks like it's holding on in some sort of flag pattern or something. And it's right at a potential buy point from the bigger pattern. But I'm not going into regional banks. Emerging markets up 1%. And again, this has just been bouncing sideways, waiting for a weak dollar. We haven't gotten the weak dollar yet. It's been pretty strong and holding. XHB up 0.77%. Momentum still to the downside. That hasn't turned yet. We have a bunch of support down here at about $96. MU also moving up a little bit, right up against resistance. And this is what it looks like, and maybe we base out a little bit longer here on top of support. We've got iron ore up a little bit. I think this looks like it's bottoming, like it's trying to bottom. If we can get a good break into the 113 range on this, I think we'll go higher. It looks pretty good. We've got nickel up 3.5%. Nickel looks really strong. I think this is bottomed and it's ready to go. Yep. So it's already bottomed. Your bottom was here, the dead period, breakout, higher high, and then we have a higher low, or higher low, higher high. So it's in an uptrend now. Aluminum also hanging on. Again, we've had a pretty big move here. We'll see if we consolidate anywhere, but it still looks good. Momentum's to the upside. We've got Baltic Dry Index also higher. Probably iron ore has something to do with it, but we're up about 1% in Baltic Dry Index. It looks good to go higher. We have a nice, good little bullish engulfing there, which means we'll go up. Newcastle Coal Futures broke its downtrend. We were down today 2.65%. Maybe it wants to do a return move here before heading higher. Difficult to say, but I would be bullish on coal as it's broken the downtrend and be looking for a potential move higher over time. Bitcoin up 3%. That looks like it's heading on higher there, but it's not out of the woods yet. We'll extend this out. We need to get above this. Otherwise, it could be a retest, breakout, retest, and then basically it's a trap for bulls. Could be. Ethereum up 1.5%. And again, it's the same, very similar pattern. Break to the downside, retest, and we'll see if we break lower there. SMCI, small little update today. Again, I think this will just be a weak bounce and probably a continuation move lower. And NVIDIA, also another weak bounce. It was up 4.35%, but these are some monster selling pressure days here. So again, the pressure still being applied down. Even though you had a 4% update, you've got all of this selling pressure. all of these negative selling pressure moves and the pressure being applied is lower. In order for me to reverse my thinking on that, you better put in a monster green candlestick, something big. Otherwise, I think this is going to go up and then reverse lower with small green candlesticks coming up here. And it'll just be a flag pattern of some sort. Okay, but that's what I've got for today, guys. So give me a thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website if you guys like. We just had our question and answer session that has been posted on the website if you want to check that out. Kind of a weird market today. Big selling pressure in gold and silver. Didn't really impact platinum and palladium. Some of the base metals, they don't look that bad. You know, like nickel looks pretty good. So kind of a mixed bag here today. And we'll see what happens over the week. I still think there's downside pressure being applied to the overall markets, the S&P 500, and some of these high flyers like Nvidia and the Nasdaq. And I'm curious to see how crude oil kind of plays out for this week, and how what kind of follow through we see in gold and silver. I'm still bullish on gold and silver. We've broken all the key trend lines to the upside. We could be doing return retest move before we end up going higher. So that's what we've got for today, guys. We'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.